Today I'm doing another 3-marker challenge. So I recently just did my first 3-marker challenge with all of my special markers, like the metallics and the neons and the glitters and all that kind of stuff. And it turned out okay. I was actually pretty happy with the final drawing. So back when I picked those 3 markers, I also picked another 2 lots of markers to do 2 more 3-marker challenges. So here is the next set of colours that I picked. So we have 2 Spectrum Noir metallic pens. One of them is in red garnet and the other one is in green citrine. And we have one of these glitter pens. I cannot remember where I got these, it was a while ago. These are some super glittery felt tip-like pens. And that's in like an orange colour. I'll be honest, I'm not super sure what I'm going to be able to do with red, green and orange. Okay, first the Spectrum Noir metallic in red garnet. So this is quite a dark, deep red actually, and these are really nice and metallic. Now we have green citrine. Again, it's a fairly dark green. And lastly the orange one. And that's like quite a bright orange and really glittery. So to be honest, the only real idea that keeps popping into my head with this colour scheme is another kind of Halloween theme drawing, which I'm reluctant to do because that's what I ended up going with for my last 3-marker challenge, where I had black, purple and orange, so I pretty much could only think of doing a sort of Halloween theme. But again, with this colour scheme, I feel like bright orange just always reminds me of Halloween. I feel like red and green fit into that theme too, because I feel like red reminds me of like blood, and green reminds me of like toxic slime. I don't know, I kind of want to do like something slimy, because I feel like that would be super fun to draw, but then it would mean that I was doing another Halloween theme again. I'm honestly not sure. So I ended up sketching this like little vampire character and then a little slime character, but none of it was really working for me. So after doing a few sketches, I decided the best idea I could come up with was kind of going with a sort of slime character. I just thought it would be the best to get that green and red in there, and I kind of liked it. And I was kind of excited to experiment with this idea, so I did a bit of a mock-up of the layout of the shapes and stuff, and decided that that was pretty much what I wanted to go with. So I didn't want to make this character too human looking, but also not too monster looking, somewhere in between, so I kind of started out with a sort of humanish shape to begin with, but then they're kind of just devolving into slime at the bottom. Overall, I actually think that this is kind of a cute idea, and I think this is kind of the best I could come up with for that particular colour scheme. So here I'm just drawing the character, and they're holding up a glass of wine, or possibly blood. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Here I'm getting the sketch done. I went in and drew the line at the bottom where I wanted it, and then moved on to the eyes, and then got the smile sketched in. Then went down and did the basic outlines of the body, trying to get the anatomy kind of right, at least for the arms. This character didn't really need totally accurate anatomy. After getting the body mostly sketched in, I got to add the drippy goopiness. This is such a fun part. I like just playing with gravity sometimes in my drawings, and this was the perfect opportunity. After my sketch was completed, I moved on to the line work. Nothing too interesting to note here. All of this effort is a little bit bittersweet sometimes, because when working with metallic markers, sometimes the lines end up getting covered up, because metallic markers sometimes just go right on top of whatever's on the page. Moving on to the colouring, I go in with the green first, covering the majority of the body. This colour scheme I found was quite difficult to work with. I guess the red and the green kind of go together, but then there was that bright orange, and to be honest, I wasn't super inspired by the colours I ended up picking, but I ended up with kind of an interesting idea. I went over the hands with red to add that red colour in there. Overall, I'm kind of happy with how this image ended up turning out. I think it was kind of an interesting idea to play with. I wasn't super inspired by the colour scheme, but I think I still managed to pull something together. This certainly isn't my favourite artwork, and I'm finding these 3-marker challenges where I can only use mostly metallics. I ended up picking a lot of metallic pens. I'm finding these really difficult, but it's a lot of fun and I get to experiment and really try new things with my art, and I think that it's teaching me a lot of things that I wouldn't have learnt otherwise. Then I decided to add some red drips to the background too. I quite like playing with compositions of blocks of colour in the background to try and frame the characters better. I don't think this is my best example of this, but I still quite like that drippy effect in the background. I also tried to add kind of a highlight to the drips in the background by leaving parts of it white. I really wish that I could have gone in there with a white pen and cleaned it all up afterwards, but because this was the 3-marker challenge, I couldn't use another colour, so I tried to leave the spaces where I wanted highlight blank so that the white of the page would show through. I'm not sure if I managed to achieve this properly because I'm not great with control with these brush pens, but I tried my best. I honestly wasn't 100% sure of where I wanted to fit the orange into this whole thing, so I kind of just coloured the block that this character is sitting on, just kind of with that orange colour. I knew I also wanted to make the tongue orange because I thought it would be really cute, just kind of as a pop of colour in between all of that green. I decided to add even more drips to the bottom with that orange glitter pen, and then that really finished off the image by adding that 3rd colour in there as much as possible. I actually am quite proud of how this ended up coming out. I feel like it was difficult to come up with an idea for this colour scheme, but I ended up coming up with something kind of cute. I definitely don't think this is the best artwork I've done, but it's also probably not the worst. I think this was a fun little experiment, and I really like picking colours at random like this because it gives me a chance to really test my skills and get as creative as I can be with what I've been given, and I feel like it was kind of difficult to come up with an idea with red, green and orange, especially since I already did a kind of Halloween theme for my last 3-marker challenge. But overall, I'm fairly happy with this. So that's all for this second 3-marker challenge. I still have one more set of colours picked out, and I'm going to record my third 3-marker challenge really soon.